Part 3 of I Was Reincarnated and I hope it doesn't happen again. It's gonna be alright, man, I said. I don't know how, but everything is going to be alright. I stopped. Past Benjamin's shoulder, where chaos was erupting and people in white clothes were fighting and ripping one another apart, was a man standing stock still. He had his head down, but his eyes were looking up directly at me. He was slightly overweight with a small paunch, thinning brown hair, and a slack-jawed expression. I looked down at the pool next to me, where I could catch just enough of his reflection to get a read on him, and I saw it, that thing I didn't want to remember, and when I looked back up at him, the man was grinning. I realized he had seen my reflection too. He had seen it, and remembered. "Oh God," I said, backing away from Benjamin. "Daniel? What's up, man? What's wrong with you?" It's him," I screamed. "Keep him away from me." Benjamin approached, his hand out, but before he could get close enough, he was punched in the side of his head and knocked to the ground. I have no idea how the man had gotten so close so fast, but he jumped on me, his grinning face now turned to a rictus as his eyes went wide enough to burst from his skull. He grabbed my face, opened his mouth, and was about to bring my head forward to rip my face apart with his teeth when it happened. I crossed over. I was back in the real world. I'm typing this on the laptop I found in my office. I guess Benjamin was mistaken about us not having lives before this, because the body I woke up in lives in a small home outside Hyde Park, New York. My new self is an Indian American man in his mid-30s. For the first month I was holed up in my house subsisting on whatever I could find in the fridge and ignoring all the calls, texts, and emails I was getting. Thank God this new self isn't married and has no kids. Not sure how I'd deal with that kind of situation. Honestly, as far as new lives go, this one seemed like it was faring pretty well. Though, I would have liked to have enjoyed the first 30-something years of it. Now, I have come to the part of my story where I need to tell you why I'm bothering to write it down in the first place. I'm writing this because of the sound. You see, all that food in the fridge couldn't last forever. I had to go out at some point to survive. I got in my car and drove to the nearest grocery store. I picked out some quick items and got home as fast as possible. After that first time, it got easier. I slowly acclimated to the new life and frequently went out to test the waters by getting my hair cut, getting an oil change in my car, even going to the gym. I saw some people's reflections, and, yes, I did see their past lives, but I didn't see anyone freaking out like I did when I saw Benjamin's reflection. If anyone could see mine, they kept it well hidden. But there were still so many questions I couldn't ask anyone about. Did people living their reincarnated lives when all this happened gain the ability to see their past lives, or even other people's, without returning to the waiting room? Are there really so few of us that out of hundreds of different reflections passing by at any given moment, I'm only able to pick out one or two who show they have been reincarnated? After a few months of living my new life and getting accustomed to my home, job, town, etc., I decided to let it go. There were no answers to the mysteries, and I needed to put them away so I could move on. Until I saw him again. I was getting gas on my way home from work one day, just standing outside my Honda, and the smell of gasoline mixing with cut grass in the late afternoon air made me lean my head back and breathe deeply for what seemed like the first time in forever. Then I looked in my window, and in the dark tint I saw him standing behind me on the other side of the street. That same look with his grinning head down, eyes up, and gut poking out. I whirled around, nearly ripping the nozzle from my gas tank, but he was gone. I chalked that first encounter up to a hallucination. I thought maybe my mind was playing tricks on me as one of the side effects of everything that had happened. I was desperately clinging to any semblance of a rational explanation. Then I saw him again. It was in the reflection of my phone screen while walking down the street. After that, a large mirror in a diner showed him right behind my booth. Then again when I looked down into a puddle of water, he was right over my shoulder. In all these instances, I turned around and saw nothing. A few days ago, he came to my home. I heard a knocking on the front door and went to answer it, but there was no one there. I checked my Ring alarm camera, still, nothing. I turned to walk back to my couch, thinking it was just kids playing a prank. Remember, I was desperate for rational explanations. Then the knocking came again, this time from the sliding glass door next to my living room sofa. I ran over, looked outside, and saw nothing. I was getting pissed off. How much more should I have had to endure? After all the pain, confusion, and suffering, now I'm being targeted for pranks by a bunch of little assholes. That rational train of thought I had so meticulously constructed was completely derailed when I looked at my television. The TV was off, and, in the reflection, I saw him, standing outside my sliding glass door, rapping his fist on the glass. I pulled my hand off the door handle like it was scalding hot, but, looking back outside, still saw nothing. The knocking continued as I ran upstairs to my office and locked the door. From downstairs, I heard the sliding glass door unlock, open gently, and a pair of footsteps walked up the stairs. The man began knocking on my office door, and he hasn't stopped for the last 3 days. Yesterday the knocks turned into banging. Now it's slamming that threatens to break the door off its hinges. As soon as the sounds got louder, I jumped on the laptop to write this out, as, what? A confession? A plea? I'm not sure. One thing that I am sure of is this: I deserve it. I fucking deserve this. For what I did to that man, to his family, to his wife in a past life. God damn it, why? Why did I do that? Why couldn't I have just left him alone? The sound is getting even louder now, the door frame is coming loose. All I've heard for the last 3 days has been that sound, that constant slamming, crashing, and pounding on the door. That is all I've heard. Until now. Now, as the broken door creaks open behind me, I hear laughter. The end. I hope that gave you guys a good scare. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. More creepy stories will be coming your way.